Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sun Chow. I'm the lead institutional partnerships officer at East Bay Community Foundation, coming to you from Oakland, California. I am pleased to be your host for today's virtual event, Meet Brandi Howard, EBCF's new president and CEO. Today, Brandi will be in conversation with Valerie Red-Horse Mohl, EBCF CFO, answering her questions and some of the questions y'all submitted when you registered. Before we get started, we'd love to hear from you in the chat. Please put your name, organization, and location. We want to know who's in the room with us today. Let's share who we are and where we're coming from in the chat. In the meantime, I also want to cover some logistics. Today, Spanish interpretation is provided by Maggie Von Vogt, and ASL interpretation is provided by Dane Lentz. Thank you to both for joining us today. To use either of these features, click on the globe icon in the Zoom menu. When you do, you should see two options, ASL interpretation and Spanish interpretation. Pick the one that's right for you. Live closed captioning is also provided by Zoom. Click on the CC live caption button in the Zoom menu and select show subtitles. Send the host a note in the chat if you need to troubleshoot any of these tools. During today's conversation, please feel free to use that Zoom emoji function and chat throughout our event. This is important. Also, we ask that you follow Zoom community standards to support meaningful conversation and collaboration. This is also important. Thank you to those who submitted a question for Brandi when you registered. We will not be able to take live questions from the audience today, so we've turned off the Q&A function. Thanks in advance to my colleague, Michelle, who will be adding useful information and links in the chat throughout the event. All right, y'all, let's get on with the show. Just to start today's program, I want to acknowledge that the land where we are streaming from is the ancestral and unceded land of the Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people. In doing this land acknowledgement, we recognize this history and remember that these communities are alive and flourishing members of the East Bay today. We recognize that every member of the EBCF community has and continues to benefit from the use and occupation of this land since the institution's founding in 1928. Consistent with our commitment to racial justice, racial equity, EBCF participates in the Shumi land tax, giving the same amount to the Sogorea Land Trust as we do in property tax to the city of Oakland. Sogorea is an urban indigenous women-led land trust that facilitates the return of land to indigenous people through rematriation, cultural revitalization, coalition building, land restoration, and public education. Sogorea is also one of EBCF's core grantee partners. We invite you all to learn about the Shumi at Sogorea website, found in the chat. All right, y'all, I'm pleased to introduce you to Valerie Red-Horse Mohl, EBCF's CFO. Val joined EBCF in 2020. She has more than 25 years of in-depth experience in the financial services and investment banking industries with unique expertise in the Native American tribal government sector. She holds 7 FINRA registrations and has raised, structured, and managed over $3 billion in capital throughout her career. She is the former executive director and CEO of Social Venture Circle and the co-founder of Known Holdings. She also serves as an inaugural member of the U.S. Treasury Advisory Committee on Racial Equity. Val is most proud of the work she and her team have done, aligning EBCF's portfolio investments with racial equity and racial justice, creating opportunities for donors to engage in impact investing, building EBCF's opportunity pool as a chance for diverse fund managers to advance social change. Please join me in welcoming Val to lead us into the main part of today's program. Again, let's get the heart emojis through the Zoom function we mentioned earlier. All right, Val, the screen is yours.
Oh, thank you so much, son. And thank you, everyone. I can't believe how many friends and family and community members I'm seeing in the chat. It's just so nice to be here. It's an absolute pleasure. It's been a long time coming, and I am just thrilled to introduce Brandi. It was well worth the wait, and to create an opportunity for you to get to know her. Before she joins me on screen, let me tell you a little bit about Brandi's background and why we're so excited. Brandi is a third-generation Oaklander who grew up in multicultural communities throughout the city. While Brandi started her career in the telecom industry, her connection to the community called her to service as a doula for Black and Latinx women. Frustrated by stagnant health outcomes for the new mothers she worked with, she pursued a path to creating systems change. Over the decades that followed, she launched equity initiatives at the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene and served in various capacities with the Alameda County Public Health Commission and First Five Alameda County, among others. Before joining East Bay Community Foundation last month, she led strategic planning and the development of equity learning infrastructure as Chief of Staff and Interim Vice President of Programs at the San Francisco Foundation. Her leadership was critical in advancing the equity-centered grant-making policy and systems change in the region. I actually had the first pleasure of working with Brandi during that time while she worked to build support for the Public Bank of the East Bay, a project that I am excited to see evolving. Brandi joins EBCF at a pivotal moment. In 2019, our board of directors and then President and CEO James Head defined a new mission to partner with social movements, donors, and the community to advance racial equity and to transform political, social, and economic outcomes for all who call the East Bay home. That move earned us a reputation as the boldest community foundation in the country. In the years since, we have seen a tremendous amount of growth and change as we implemented what we call the framework for a just East Bay. We've honed elements of that framework, which includes our 4 core program strategies, new policies to ensure that charitable funds are put to work for public benefit, and work that's very close to my heart, as Sun mentioned, our investment strategies to narrow or even eliminate the racial wealth gap and bring our investments towards 100% mission alignment. Yes, there's a lot going on here at East Bay Community Foundation, and it's an exciting time to be welcoming Brandi Howard as our new president and CEO. So let's get right to it. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Brandi Howard. Lots of love being shown for you in the chat there.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. Like I said, it's been a long time, a long wait, well worth the wait. I can't believe how many people are registered. I don't know if you can see them all. It's just incredible, the support we're seeing here. I want to get to my first question for you. That's why we're here. So let's get right to it. It's about your journey as an advocate for racial equity and racial justice. You've said that your lived experience as a third-generation Oaklander, and I just want to repeat that, you're third generation in this city, is the impetus for your drive for equity and justice. So tell us more about that. How was your experience growing up here in Oakland? How has that informed your approach and perspective?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much to everyone. Thank you, Val, for that question. And thank you, everyone, for coming and joining us today. You know, when I think about this question, I don't want to make a long story long because it is a long one, but I will sum it up by saying that, you know, being from Oakland, in the way I can just say that I've loved here, I lived here, I've grown here, and I lost here. There's so much that I've experienced just growing up in Oakland. And living throughout the city. But when I think about my experience specifically around my work, that I can say that due to housing instability, I moved around the city a lot throughout my childhood. Now, though this was a challenge to the desire my mother had for us, we've always landed in really diverse, safe, caring, and strong communities. It was not just diverse and racially, but we had folks from different religions, social and economic status, education, the more. It was just really a well-knit communities that I was able to experience growing up here in the, I will date myself, 70s and 80s. And one thing that I really appreciated and have always stuck with me was the safety. The adults in my community were giants. They created that safety for us through connections and support everywhere we went. And when I moved from the area, which was like Manzanita Center and Manzanita Elementary, where I went, we moved to a neighborhood near Jingletown, which is where my family landed after they came here when they moved here from the South. It was primarily Mexican and Guatemalan. So it was a different level of diversity, but that same support, care, and safety. And so I just was, I didn't know anything was different or wrong with our community. There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm saying this with my air quotes, until I was around 10, around that time, when I actually experienced and became aware of the double consciousness that our communities lived in and lived under. It was after seeing from specifically my mother's experience, the kind of disregard and devaluing of who she was as a full human and her contribution, that it made me start to think differently and ask really critical questions around the world and our place in it. And it was that moment that I seen the compromise of the soul that my mother had to make just to get the basic supports to provide for us. That what I would consider is like my first heartbreak. And it actually was the kind of fire that lit the fight in me. And it has been those heartbreaks that I felt early in my childhood and throughout, and really linked those to the experience in the ways that systemic oppression and racism have played out. But I also know that systemic oppression and racism is actually at the root of my heartbreak and has really spearheaded my work to this day. It's what I am. It really just, I think it was early on, I would say this, I probably wouldn't have said this before, but it has really been like, that was the thing that I can root back to understanding what not just my passion, but my gifts are, is to deal with these challenging issues and to be able to see them through. And so Oakland made me and built me for that.
Wow. Very powerful. Thank you for that. And, I'm going to go off book slightly. I have to quote someone in the chat. I didn't get the name, but someone said, wow, Brandi, you've lived here, loved here, and lost here. And now you're going to lift here.
Yes.
I hope that Andrew is somewhere making a banner. Andrew's our head of communications. And speaking of lifting, it's a perfect segue to speak to the next question we have for you. A lot of your work has focused on transformation. So building programs to change the status quo for better community outcomes. You've led strategic planning as well as implementation initiatives within multiple sectors. And you've served as a liaison between public and nonprofit agencies. You've also trained as a social worker, having completed your MSW at UC Berkeley, go Pac-12, where you also lecture. Can you tell us more about the way these experiences have shaped your view of philanthropy and the role community foundations specifically play in community transformation?
Yeah, I have to say, and this is kind of tied to the first question, I didn't have that clear path of a journey in my career to like, I had a path, a very linear path. It was one that I think it was very divinely laid out to where I needed all the different tools, experiences, and opportunity to help me understand the issues that I was going to work with and against in this work. And I would say the issues that we're fighting against are very complex. The systems and structures, the beliefs are century old. And so when I look back and really reflect on my work and educational experience, it really has culminated in what I think is needed to not look at these issues with a simple solution, but really looking at and understanding and navigating the complexities of these issues. And so my own journey also was around understanding systems. I found out early on that my work in working with communities on the ground, that I was not the outside organizer. The way that I understood systems and structure, again, that heartbreak was really keenly focused on systems. So I knew my work was in the inside. And so but I also knew that our systems and structures were either maintained or dismantled by people. So when I think about systems change, it's systems and structures and policy, but the people like us who are in the systems also have to be about changing who we are, our belief systems, and our contribution to the future we want to see. And so I think about, when I think about community foundations, what gets me so excited is that we are really poised to work with all of our partners, government, community organizers on the ground, our community-based organizers providing essential services, to our corporates, our donors, really to bring us together, to look at these complexities and identify what are the issues that we need to address and what are the opportunities to make change. And so I think we have to think simultaneously about developing systems and putting our thinking into practice. One of the things that I do, and you talked about my lecturing at UC Berkeley, it was really an opportunity for me to take social work, which is really an understanding of systems and complexities. I was a macro level practitioner, I am, and taking that and really to be able to hold, how do you live in praxis? We have to be able to take what were these theories and understandings of the problem and put them into practice. And we cannot do that in any other way but to be in proximity to community to do that. And I think the role of community foundations, again, which gets me so excited about this sector, is that we're facilitating space for community to exercise its power. And that is where we can begin to do away with the old age of looking at the pathology of a community and looking at the community through a lens of, pathology, and really seeing the assets and strengths. And again, coming up in Oakland, all I knew were the assets and strengths. And I think for more, instead of convincing folks, we need to be in the business of being in solidarity and creating space for community to hold that power and to really let us know, are we spending our times doing the right things and providing resources in the right way? Yeah.
Great, thank you. That's very powerful. And I just want to say that the audience is amazing, and they are sending so much love and really interesting comments and supportive thoughts. And so I know someone's going to capture them for you because you can't possibly see them all, but it's really powerful. What a great group that we have here. So the next question is really just an extension of, I think, the one that you just answered, but maybe digging a little deeper into specificity. As we mentioned before, East Bay Community Foundation has structured its strategy around a vision and framework advancing equity, inclusion, and justice in what we call this framework for a just East Bay. But I think one of the things that kind of differentiates us is one of our central principles of a just East Bay is actually working in partnerships with social movements, because we believe the best and most equitable solutions are the ones built by the people historically disenfranchised by oppressive systems. So what excites you about leading EBCF with this particular approach to philanthropy?
I think when it comes to mind when I think about this and gets me so excited is that, we make impact when we're willing to rely on learning through proximity and practice. And we know that those who are on the ground are those who are closest to the issues, those who understand the issues, and those who are shaping solutions that are a direct reflection from what community is stating the needs are, and really pushing and fighting for what they need to be able to not just survive, but thrive for us now and for generations beyond. And I think, I was listening to a talk yesterday, and I'm gonna quote Bob Ross. He was talking about, social movements and organizers are the most essential of our time right now. And I think when we look at where we are in the East Bay, our families and people are getting displaced, we have to continue to organize. We have to keep our pulse on the issues, and we have to keep our eye on our people. And I think what's really exciting me around in EBCF is that we are not just thinking about the now, but we're thinking about the future. Our people need to be here. When we're building these equitable systems and practices, we need to make sure that our folks are able to stay. And then not only are they able to stay, but their children are able to stay, and their children's children. And so when I think about the work that we do, like the Ascend BLO, when I came into philanthropy, one of the first programs that I interacted with and partnered with EBCF on, and it's not just work of, this one group, it's really looking back at historically the inequities around Black social nonprofits and social movements, to be able to look deep in what is needed to expand the capacity and to strengthen the nonprofit infrastructure. We know that our folks on the ground utilize what may not have been initially meant for good to have built up this nonprofit, but have really turned into a space of organizing a home for our people to come and to get services and resources, but to stay connected. And so the Ascend BLO program is one that really thinks differently around how are we going, not just sending money in community, but beyond the check, expanding our opportunity to partner with the Black-led organizations. I think the second is one that I'm always, I say this even to my own children, we're living a reality of someone else's idea. We're seeing the manifestation of someone's idea hundreds of years ago, and that's the built environment, the systems and structures that we currently live under. And so we have to be able to lean into reimagining something different. Our ideas can be the reality of the future, and the Real People's Fund is one of those things that got me really excited. I think to be able to think about economic, small business, and employment in a way that really lifts up our community and shifts the power to where it belongs, and allow community, not even allow, that's not the right language, where it belongs, so that community has the decision-making on where resources are distributed. How we think about economic systems for our community, that is essential for us to think about. As much as we want to really lean into a restorative and inclusive economy, we need to be able to think differently. And the tools that got us here is not the ones that's going to take us forward. And so those, just thinking about those type of programs, really are coming and rooting up from community. So working with social movements to be able to fund in a way that allows them to do the work that they do every day, from the organizing work to the C4 grant making, to make sure that we are continuing to impact the systems to allow them to continue to grow. So that's what gets me really excited. I'm really excited about that, as you can tell.
Fantastic. Absolutely. Well, we're excited to be by your side. Now we're going to widen our perspective a little bit. We've talked about community a lot and here in Oakland, but let's talk about the context of our work as we're living in a time of crisis with a global pandemic, rising authoritarianism, climate emergency, political violence, and unprecedented economic inequality. As writer, lawyer, and activist Deepa Iyer recently wrote, we are living in a time that demands our attention and requires our consistent action. How do you hope EBCF specifically will position itself in the years to come?
I think when I think about this, first of all, I think we are on the right path. The question you asked before around working with social movements, we are on that path, because we're not doing that just in isolation, but we're bringing people into a conversation, bringing our partners along on a journey. And I think that that alone is a part, is half the battle, is not going at it alone. When we think about our work around a Justice Bay, just that alone, justice in itself is what we aspire to, right? Where the systems are no longer providing inequitable outcomes, that it is set up in a way that people can engage and be full and valued. And so we are, the work that we're doing currently, we're on that path. And when I think about the East Bay, we have always worked in partnership, again, with so many others, but specifically, we have an ecosystem that is really fighting for equity and justice for our communities. And what we have done so well and will continue to do, and I think where we're is to continue to play our most impactful contribution to our ecosystem. And what we do is we're not afraid to ask the hard questions. And I think this is where we are. How do we need to get deeper? We're going to have to disrupt. We're going to have to be a little uncomfortable, and that's okay, because we're being uncomfortable. We're being vulnerable because we're going to a place we haven't been before. And I think one of the things when I talked about heartbreak earlier, really focusing on, and you touched on this, the economic inequalities. When I was talking to some younger folks that are probably late 20s, that were moving out of the state because in order for them to see and to live a life where they felt they had a good quality of life that they can afford, they couldn't do it here. To see that what we have from home and just the talent and to the commitment to the community, but they have to leave in order to receive, to live a full life in a good quality of life. That heartbreak and that fight and that fire makes me even more excited to do this work, but even more committed. And I think what is really keeps me going now, and I've been here a month, is the staff of EBCF. Many of you in this chat probably have already engaged with the staff in a deeper way longer than I have, just being a partner. But the level of commitment to this work, the level of inquiry to where can we be most impactful, and who are the partners that we are working alongside, is the thing that I think that is giving me hope for where we're driving for the future. And again, we're not asking this question for us today. We're not asking for the change that we probably will see in our lifetime. We're asking the question that will make the change for generations to come.
Well, you certainly have a lot of support in the chat. Everyone is agreeing with you and wanting to really work with you and alongside us here. So thank you, everyone. And since we are a community, we are now going to ask you a few questions submitted by the community. As people registered, they submitted questions. And so I'm going to give you a few of these. Here we go. This one is from Carol De Benedetto, and she's from Go for the Green Strategies. Her question is, how will EBCF continue to encourage residents to participate in our democracy by voting and running for local offices?
Oh, thank you so much, Carol. That's a really critical question. And I think we are well poised to continue to do this work. So much of our team that's led by Amy Fitzgerald really have been moving this work, not just with the nonprofits on the ground, but again, with social movement and organizers. And what I'm really proud of is the money that we provide to our partners around for C4, for lobbying and advocacy. That work will continue. That work is where we are really focusing on. Again, we have to take a multi-pronged approach. And so our community on the ground is doing that on the ground work, integrated voter engagement, working with organizations who are preparing folks with political education and how to get civically engaged and involved. And the funding and support that we provide, and also that we partner with our other funders to provide, will continue that work well into the future.
Okay, that's a great answer. I am going to move to Donald Gilmore from Community Housing Development Corporation, and he's giving you a narrative question. So here we go. How do you see equity compared to equality in relationship to systemic racism and policy change?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. And I have to not try to tap into the academic in me and try to go into these long definitions. But when I think about this work, I think about what is at the root of the systemic racism and policy. And I'm sorry, I love history. But when I think about what created the inequities, were a set of laws, practices, and policies. And so when we think about equity, we don't think about is everybody getting the same thing? When we look at the issues today, we have to really go back and provide what is needed to lift the boat. we cannot look at provide equality, and to give the same amount to all people and think that it's going to shift it's going to change the historical context of what got us to the place where we have the inequalities we see today. So when I think about the work that you do around Black developers, that, to be able to have those funds to put in the Black community, to have Black developers who have a vision for how to develop within our communities, how to ensure that we have an infrastructure where faith-based organizations and others who are developing on land, that we're not just talking about building for building's sake. We're talking about affordability. We're talking about safety and built environments. And we're talking about getting at deep issues. When you talk about equity, we're talking about justice. We're talking about fairness. We're talking about providing all of the resources that is needed to get us to first an even playing field, so that then we can continue to propel forward. It's really challenging for us to get to the place of equality, or even to have a conversation around equality, until we have really engaged with shifting paradigms, understanding root cause and historical context, and then providing the resources that is needed in order to even to lift us to an even playing field. And when I say it's a collective us, right? All of our communities that have been at the margins.
Yeah, thank you for that. Oh, and now we're going to move to a very fun question. I learned something new about you with this question. This is from Brianna Rogers at the San Francisco Foundation. And this is what she asked. Knowing that you are a collector of sneakers, what's your top 3 favorite pairs? She wants to know your go-to, your most prized shoe, and your comfort shoe.
Okay, so Brianna, I know. Brianna. Well, I have to say, I just have to say, because I don't want to I'm not a sneakerhead, so I'm not a true collector. I just have a really deep love for tennis shoes. And so if I think about your question, I would say I'll put them in a few categories. So first, I would I do like my classic Reebok, and I love a Stan Smith classic, but I love collabs. So I love the Stella McCartney and the Pharrell collabs on Reeboks. Then if I go to Nike, I love my go-to low top platform blazer, or my Air Max 90. And then if I go a little bit deeper, I love the Nike, the Sakai brand, so the Sakai. I love that. Those are my kind of in the Nike realm. And then if I want a nice designer shoe that I might wear, I love Vince Camuto's kind of just regular shoe. They're really comfortable, give me a little platform. I'm not too tall, so give me a couple of inches. I like that too.
Well, that's great. And I have to say, I've seen a couple of your pairs and they're always very fun. So a big thank you to everyone who submitted a question. I wish we could get to them all, but obviously we don't have time. But also love seeing all the comments in the chat, which we will preserve and be able to read later. So we're at my last question for you, Brandi. It feels like time has just flown by. So as we wrap up this portion of our program, here's the last one. What are you looking the most forward to?
I think I'm really looking forward to the possibilities. Out of everything that we've done over the last 95 years as a foundation, let me just say that one more time, 95 years for a foundation. What is on the horizon for us? We are at a pivotal moment, with everything that's happening. And there's so many challenges we face, but in that, I always see opportunity. My background growing up in Oakland, I have seen many challenges growing up, and in all of them, there's an opportunity. And so I am very excited to work with the staff and really thinking about how do we bring more people into our framework for a just East Bay? How do we continue to do the work in building movement buildings and organizers in the community? And I think one of the things I'm mostly excited about is to be able to celebrate with everybody in the next 5 years, because we hit 100 years in 5 years. And I walked into this position already knowing oh, we hit 100 years in the East Bay. That means so much for us. There's so much history there and so much possibility of what we will build and grow towards together.
Well, fantastic. Again, just thank you so much, Brandi, for your thoughtful responses and for your leadership. I have really enjoyed this, and I think I can speak for all of us when I say that we are just super excited about what's on the horizon under your leadership for East Bay Community Foundation. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that's the wrap on this part of the program. Sun, back to you.
Right on, right on. You tell them, Val. You tell them, Brandi. I gotta say, systems change, social justice, sneakers, we've got soul. This is my type of organization. Once again, let's give it up for Val and Brandi for dropping so much knowledge with us. Let's throw some hearts up on the screen or whatever you're feeling using that emoji function. I know there's like over 350 people here today. Thank you for joining. Personally, I have to say that I am just so inspired by both of you. The wisdom of your words and the power of your presence. I hope our community here today is feeling as inspired as I am. So, with that, next up in our program, our team has prepared a little surprise for you, Brandi. We invited folks in the EBCF community to share their words of welcome with us in a video. All right, let's kick it, Michelle.
Hello, I'm John Govea, Vice Chair of the Board of the East Bay Community Foundation. EBCF is committed to reimagining and transforming systems in our region to be racially, economically, and socially just for everyone who lives here. I am so happy to be welcoming Brandi back to her beloved East Bay, and I look forward to working with you on this exciting and vital work.
Hello, my name is Christine Cordero, co-director at Asian Pacific Environmental Network, APEN, a longtime collaborator and partner with the East Bay Community Foundation. On behalf of the entire APEN team, including my fellow co-director, Vivian He Huang, we are so excited to invite in the new CEO and President, Brandi Howard, to the community and look forward to seeing how she will help us grow community power in the coming years. We are so excited to have somebody from the community serving the community.
Hi, Brandi. My name is Jim King, past board member and donor advised fund holder at EBCF. I want to add my welcome to those of the others who have done so and look forward to working with you to help create a more just East Bay.
Hi, Brandi. My name is Rhea. I'm here with the East County Regional Group, and we are a grantee of the East Bay Community Foundation. We'd like to welcome you to our community. East Bay Community Foundation is an incredible partner that helps us build power in East Contra Costa for healthy, safe, and equitable communities.
We look forward to working with you.
Hello, I'm Brandon Nicholson, Executive Director of the Hidden Genius Project. Just wanted to take a moment to congratulate Brandi Howard on this new role with the East Bay Community Foundation. Both you and the East Bay Community Foundation have been tremendous supporters of our work over the years. And so it's great to know that you're now one and the same. Can't wait to see what you all do, certainly what we do together, and most importantly, what you all do for the community. So thank you, keep it going, and look forward to seeing you soon.
I'm Tom Hannenberg, and I'm both the donor to the East Bay Community Foundation as well as a board member. And I'm excited to have Brandi leading the East Bay Community Foundation as we advance our vision of a just East Bay. EBCF has enabled me to help advance social transformation through its strategic investment in our communities, both in capacity building, community organizing, the arts, and fair and equitable economic models.
My name is Nichelle Rochelle. I manage the community investments for the Clorox Company Foundation. For the past 14 years, I've had the great pleasure of partnering with Deborah Giles and the East Bay Community Foundation. Our partnership has been invaluable to me. I look forward to this next chapter for the East Bay Community Foundation and want to extend a warm welcome to you, Brandi.
Hello, my name is Arnold Perkins, and I've been affiliated with the East Bay Community Foundation since the early 90s. It's such a pleasure to be a part of the work that you're doing and we're doing here at the foundation. And I'm just super excited that Brandi has decided to come aboard and lead us into the next chapters of the foundation.
I am Holly Alonso, Executive Director of Peralta Hacienda.
I'm Diane Wong.
I'm Miguel Lopez.
I'm Alberto Murillo
at Peralta Hacienda
Historical Park
and Fruitvale.
The East Bay Community Foundation has enabled us to grow
to a regional hub for arts, culture, and environment.
And we won the National Museum Medal for our work with refugee and immigrant culture.
East Bay Community Foundation grants last year alone created new exhibits to shine light on Native American voices in the East Bay.
And 5 huge community cultural festivals.
We look forward to working with you, to having you visit our site.
And work with you. Welcome, Brandi.
Welcome.
Welcome, Brandi.
Welcome, Brandi.
Welcome, Brandi.
Welcome, Brandi.
Welcome, Brandi.
Welcome, Brandi.
I look forward to meeting you in person sometime soon.
Welcome to the East Bay.
Brandi, we're lucky to have you. You're such a blessing and a gift. And I just want to wish you the very, very best. And I just want to love, respect, and kisses to you. Good luck.
Hello, East Bay. I am so excited to welcome Brandi Howard to East Bay Community Foundation. Brandi has over a decade of dedicated public service working to pursue justice. She has been a true leader in the Bay Area for so many years, and I am excited to see her unyielding dedication and focus on the intersection between justice and all walks of life. She will make an invaluable addition to the East Bay Community Foundation team. The East Bay Community Foundation has been a key partner in materializing the vision of a just East Bay. Now, when I was a graduate student at UC Berkeley, of course that was in the day, the East Bay Community Foundation provided $5,000 in seed money to start my community mental health center, Change Incorporated, which became a beacon of hope for residents in Southwest Berkeley. I have to take this moment to say thank you. Through the years, I have seen how the foundation creates systemic change in Alameda and Contra Costa counties so that all residents have the economic, cultural, and people power to make choices for their well-being. I have seen the power of partnering with the East Bay Community Foundation through the COVID-19 African American Education and Outreach Partnership, which I was proud to initiate. Founded in 2020, the partnership was a community-centered public philanthropic effort that combined the local standing trust and reach of community-based organizations with the resources and the convening power of philanthropic partners. The COVID-19 African American Education and Outreach Partnership was a true collaboration between philanthropy, the federal government, and grassroots community-based organizations to support local leaders and fund organizations working to tackle disinformation and increase vaccine access. The East Bay Community Foundation and community-based organizations saved lives. I remain committed to being a steadfast partner, and I am excited to work with you toward an equitable future. Once again, it is with great pleasure that I offer my congratulations and welcome to you, Brandi. I look forward to working with you as you lead a great organization, which I owe a debt of gratitude, which in many ways helped shape my life. Thank you again and congratulations.
Wow, could it get any better than that? Thank you to our community members who submitted videos and the kind words. Again, let's show some love to our folks in the video, many of whom are here today. Let's throw up the heart emojis. Let's throw up whatever you're feeling. All right, now let's keep those kind words coming. We've prepared a very interactive activity for you all. Here's how it's gonna work. All right, Michelle's gonna cue some stuff up. We're gonna put a link in the chat, so everyone should go to the chat right now. That link will take you to a website called the Mentimeter. When you're there, add 1 or 2 or 3 words to express your excitement about EBCF's new chapter. We'll display the responses on the screen as we're doing right now. All right, and I just got to give you an example. I'm feeling excited, inspired, and ready for change. So let's put the words that you're feeling today in the Mentimeter. Oh, look at that. We're moving here. We're building. We're growing. All right, it looks like we got a lot of words in this word cloud. We got excited and inspired, hopeful at the heart of it. Let's see if it's going to change. It's still excited, inspired, and hopeful. I see proud coming up. I see ready coming up. I see energized a little bit there too. Hopeful, inspired, excited. Oh, wow. We got more and more words. We're building a dictionary right now, I have to say. Oh man, we got a lot of responses. Oh my goodness, keep on building, keep on building. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Oh yeah, I hear you. I see joy. I see confidence. And I think what's coming on top, I think the people have spoken, the people have felt it. And I think we're going to be really embodying today for the rest of the program, hopeful, inspired, and excited. Hopeful, inspired, and excited are the top 3 words of our community today. Wow. All right. I think that's the activity. Thank you very much for participating. And I mean, we're probably gonna print this out and give it to Brandi and put it in her office. So once again, we're gonna continue to embody hopeful, inspired, and excited for the remainder of the program. So for the next part, I want to pass the mic back to Brandi. All right, Brandi, the screen is yours.
Thank you so much, son. Son, I said, I think I need you to walk around with me and be like my hype person. You get me so ready. You get me so ready. Whatever I'm getting ready to walk into, I'm like, I need a pep talk with son. I love the words hopeful, excited, inspired, because it's everything that I'm feeling. Just deep gratitude for everyone who have joined today and welcoming me. I am just humbled by the response, as well as your work and your commitment to continue to make the East Bay fair, just, and equitable for all of us. When I think about this work, and I think I just want to thank all of you, but our board, staff, our donors, our partners have really made me truly feel at home. And I just thank you deeply. When I think about a Just East Bay, just to say that and take every word one at a time, a Just East Bay. It is a big vision. We've done a lot of work up until today, and it's going to take a lot more, but I am confident that collectively we can make it a reality. These past few weeks, I've had the opportunity to see the care, the strength, and resolve of our staff, and I couldn't be any more prouder to be a part of EBCF. I look forward to building relationships with each and every one of you, to working alongside with you as we continue to build our culture rooted in racial equity, racial justice, and tackle some of the most stubborn inequities that are impacting our communities. In my first newsletter that I wrote, that you all probably have received, I wrote about that I lead with love and liberation. To me, liberation is our movement work. It's equitable rights and status for communities that have historically suffered at the hands of systemic oppression. These speak to not only the work that we do, but the introspective, the interpersonal, and the external work that is required to achieve and sustain equity and justice for the future. And why love? You have to quote Maya Angelou when she said, "Love liberates." Love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles, leaps fences, penetrates walls to arrive at its destination full of hope. Liberation is not possible without love. And as we start a new year and a new chapter for the East Bay Community Foundation, I want you to know that I am here and committed to jumping hurdles, leaping fences, and penetrating walls for and with all of you. Thank you so much for being a part of this event today. and welcoming me to the EBCF community. Now, with that, I want to welcome on screen our board member, Quinn Delaney, who has a message for us. Quinn?
Thanks, Brandi. Wow, all the love. It's just so beautiful. Thank you all for being here. My name is Quinn Delaney. I am founder and board chair of Akanati Foundation and a member of the board of directors of East Bay Community Foundation. This is such an important moment for EBCF, and I'm thrilled you all are here with us. In 2019, the board set a new direction towards a Just East Bay, which you've heard us speak about today. That was a bold step, and I am filled with pride over the ways that the board and the staff pursue this vision every day. As we have just heard, we now have a great leader who can continue our bold endeavor. I am here today because I believe in EBCF and the important work community foundations do. EBCF partners with social movements in an authentic and transparent manner, executing on our vision of a Just East Bay. I'd like to share with you 3 examples of work EBCF has done in service to our community and to philanthropy more generally. First, EBCF has used its pooled fund and field of interest funds to send nearly $5 million last year to community organizations and social movement leaders. Those organizations are winning tenant protections, securing accessible quality childcare, and creating pathways to economic opportunity. Second, this year, EBCF officially adopted a hate-free grant-making policy to ensure that charitable dollars held in its charitable accounts are not used for hateful activities. This is a big move for donor-advised funds like EBCF. And third, you heard some of this from Val, beyond grant making, EBCF is also investing our assets towards its mission and creating impact investing opportunities for our donors. Now, nearly 90% of our assets under management are invested with funds aligned with our social and racial justice mission. EBCF is making waves and partnering with the social movements that are driving community transformation. And now with Brandi at the helm, I believe we are poised to accelerate our progress towards our vision. In order to do so, we need your support. EBCF relies on contributions from community members like you and me, local corporate partners, and other foundations, because the revenue from fees and investment alone does not cover the cost of all this transformative work. I believe that EBCF is an essential partner in the fabric of the East Bay social sector, and its vision is so compelling. So I have made a meaningful personal contribution to EBCF. I'm asking you to join me in supporting EBCF through the Campaign for a Just East Bay. The Campaign for a Just East Bay is a multi-year annual campaign. Dollars donated to the campaign support all of EBCF's core work towards a Just East Bay. This includes the sector-leading innovations in philanthropy, EBCF's impact investing work, and of course, EBCF's pooled fund for strategic grant making to support social movement leaders. This fiscal year, our goal is to raise at least $3 million from the community. And we need your help. So visit ebcf.org/justice. You can find a link in the chat. And I hope you will join me in supporting EBCF and our new leader at this pivotal time. I want to thank you again so much for being here and for partnering with EBCF. And now back to you, son.
Thank you, Quinn. And thank you all for joining us and welcoming Brandi to EBCF and embodying the top words that you told us about in that interactive activity: hopeful, inspired, excited, together in our session today. Once again, let's show some love to Quinn for that call to action and yourselves by sharing your heart emojis or whatever you're feeling on the screen. We hope you join us and make a gift to the campaign for a Just East Bay. Thanks again, Michelle, for placing that link in the chat as you have been throughout the session. If you are a fund advisor, please talk with your senior philanthropic advisor to learn more about the campaign. You could also visit ebcf.org/justice to make a gift. As we wrap up, I want to also invite your feedback as we're constantly learning about today's event. After the event, you'll receive an email from us with the link to complete an evaluation survey. Your feedback helps our staff improve event experiences for you all. So please check out that link in that email. With that, all right, Brandi, I'm going to quote you. This is going to be in my heart, and I'm going to try to embody this throughout the week and throughout my life moving forward. In the spirit of love and liberation, let us organize and build community leadership and social movements that advance a just East Bay together. Once again, thank you all so much for joining us today. Take care and be well.